Oh. Next, stores the values
in a single variable.
Next,
Of same data type, sir.
that is called homogeneous. Next,
Starts with index.
Non-primitive data type.
starts with the index. Next, someone said something. So starts with the index. Next,
Replacing the value.
replacing the value means what? You mean to say that enhance and modify. Enhance means modifying or deleting whatever. We can enhance the values. Anyways, that's any variable can do that. Any other?
Array is an object which stores the homogeneous values or homogeneous data type.
That we have been already discussed.
This is a non-primitive data type.
Non-primitive data type. Good point. Next.
Mutable, sir.
Means enhancing means this is what the mutable. Any other pointers?
Sir, it is of two types, single dimensional and multi-dimensional.
Good one. Arrays having single dimension and double dimension.
It's a fixed number of values of a single type.
Fixed storage. Because this makes this as a difference. Any other pointers? Okay, fine. Let me explain about. Okay, why we require arrays? Why should we require arrays?
To store
To
multiple.
avoid the declaring many variables.
To store multiple variables, sir. Very large of variables, sir.
See, now when you go for a shop, so think that you have been found some supermarket and then you went there and you wanted to buy some mangoes. So now when you wanted to buy one mango, you carry with your hand. But when you wanted to buy half dozen or 1 dozen mangoes, then you need to have a carton or you wanted to have a big bag to carry them, right? So arrays is also the same. So previously, when we discussed about the variables, as part of this particular variables, now what we used to do it. So as part of the variable, we can store only one value in that particular variable, a equal to 10. Means this particular value would be stored into this. So now only one value we wanted to store, but I wanted to store multiple values into a single variable. How I can store this one? So for this one, you would be having these particular arrays. Okay, so arrays are one of the most important concepts to play around this. to play around the logics. I told you, right? Conditions and loops and arrays. So if you, these are the very basic topics, and then operators, these all. So if you learn these things, I'm telling you, right, easily you can write 60 to 70% of any logics, any complicated logics you can use, you'll be using these things on. So arrays is a concept where it's a simple concept of storing multiple values into a single variable. So this is called arrays, right? Storing multiple values into a single variable is called an array. So this is the basic definition, and you need to, it is not that you need to remember this definition. You can define it in any example. String, okay, str fruits. Now what I can do it in this one, I can store multiple values. Now how I need to define, see, now if I wanted to store a single variable, I'll be defining it in this particular way. String str fruits equal to apple. But now I wanted to store multiple values. Now I wanted to define this particular array, right? How I can define this particular array? So there are two ways of defining this particular arrays. Okay, so which is the right under the practice and which we need to do it. So that I'll discuss later. But as of now, what the best way of doing this one is simple. After the variable, keep this particular parameters. I'll show you both the ways how it can be defined, but still. So this was a normal usage in the industry standards which we are trying to do it. We'll be doing. So now here the data type, variable name, and then this array, and storing this particular multiple values. Apple, and you wanted to keep mango, orange. So now whatever the values you wanted to store it, so you'll be keeping all this one. So first thing which you need to remember is what is an array. So array will be having, means actually the most important terms for this one is these two. First of all, let me tell you this one. So array will help you to store multiple values into a single variable. And the most important thing is it can store the same data type. It can't take the different data types, means apple 1 and 3, 3.456, and that means having different data types, means not only the string, so having it for integer, double, or float, or char, boolean. So those all things you can't store it in single particular array variable. So now what we need to do is it need to have homogeneous. Homo means same category. So that is called homo. So now it need to, actually the opposite for this one is heterogeneous. Homogeneous, heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means different data types, or different types is called homogeneous. Sorry, different types is called heterogeneous. Same type it is called homogeneous. Okay, so that is the difference between the heterogeneous and homogeneous. So the people, in interviews, the people will be asking, can you tell me whether an array is an homogeneous or a heterogeneous? So then the answer would be the homogeneous. So the answer for this one, what it means is it's the same, it holds the same data type. It will not store the different data type values into this one. So this is called called homogeneous. Now first one is it stores multiple values into a single variable. At the same point of time, it holds the similar category of data types. So now when it have the similar category of this particular data types, it's storing here, right? Now another important factor is this is a fixed storage. Fixed storage means you can't dynamically increase the array. Now you define 3, then it should be defined 3. Because when you are defining, means when we go for the arrays declaration initialization, I'll show it to you the size of the array. So how we are defining it. So now what would be the sizes? So those particular declarations you can see it. it will be having a fixed size. Once you define an array, immediately you can't dynamically increase the size of an array. So now when we go for another topic called array and array list, when you go for these two, then you can see these particular differences. So that is the reason I was specifically talking about this one. So talking about the homogeneous, talking about the fixed values. So these are the things which you will be talking as part of those particular differences. So you need to understand what is an array so that you can clearly get into this. Next one, this is mutable. So what is mutable or enhance? Means you can change the values. Mutable means mutations. For example, you have been seen the word called mutations. Mutations means it can change dynamically. It can change consistently. So that is called mutations. So now immutable, mutable, immutable. Immutable means you can't change the values of it. Mutations means which it can change. Means we'll be saying it, right? If you go for any particular zombie movies, so they will be using this particular word. Hey, because of mutations, means change in this particular genes and in his DNA, it changed into this particular things. So that is called mutation. So it has mutations, and we will be having mutations, and which is mutable and immutable. Immutable. Immutable means you can't change that one. So arrays are mutable, means which we can change that particular values. Means it can be enhanced. The values in this particular arrays, it can be enhanced. And the next very important, which is a non-primitive data type. So now when we go for the non-primitive data type, what is the major difference? In the non-primitive data type, what is the major difference?
User defined.
We
Major
can
difference,
define our methods.
Methods.
So it is a user defined, but the most important difference is it can have its own methods. See, for integer and these things will not have these methods, but for arrays, it will have its own methods. Array size, array length. So these all own methods will be having it. So this is also a non-primitive data type. So now when this is an means all arrays will be means this particular non-primitive data types will be started with the capital letters. Okay, so now we have been seeing this the basic introduction of an array. Now let's see how to declare an array and how to assign a particular array. So these particular things we will look into this one. Now let me take you, because this tutorial is very simple. I think if you have been seeing the last July's video, probably I have been explained on this one. I had followed this tutorial or other tutorial, I don't remember.
మేడంకి ఫోన్ చేయకముందు మీకే ట్రై చేస్తాను ఎప్పుడు.
Work nothing. Go on mute.
ఈ నెంబర్ మీ దగ్గర లేదు సార్, 81790.
Dwarka,
Okay.
you are go for unmuting. Okay, fine. So let me first take you through this one. So here, go for this. Okay. So now, first, what we are trying to do is how to declare an array. So now this is what we wanted to try to say it. So let me keep this one side. This one. Come on. Okay. So first thing what I wanted to do it is, so I wanted to first define this one as a size. So first of all, I wanted to declare this one into this one. So now the declaration, how this would be started with this. So for an example, now I wanted to start with the int or strings. So string means which is this particular data type. I'll be writing this one. And so now this is for this particular array, right? So now I told you that there are two ways of defining it. So now this is one way of defining it. Means we are trying to say that, hey, this is a string array. So that is what we are trying to explain here. And then we are giving the variable name here. So now you wanted to write with the fruits, right? str small and fruits. If this particular fruits is what we wanted to give it. So now this is where you are calling this one as declaration of an array. So this is how we will be declaring this particular array. Okay. So now if you wanted to see it, now we wanted to assign the particular values into this one. So now when I wanted to assign this one into the values, now what I'll try to do it is the same way, declaration and then assigning of this particular values. Now here I'll be keeping this one as apple or orange or mango, whatever the things which we wanted to have it, we will be keeping it. But the most important thing is only one thing, which always you need to start with this particular flower braces and it should be closed with this particular flower braces. So now this, it is saying that this is one set of elements which belongs to this particular variable. So now whenever you're calling this particular variable, so this all set of values would be there. So now, first of all, we need to know about the declaration. Second thing, we will be knowing about the assigning of these particular variables. And third, we will be understanding how we can access these particular arrays. Okay, so first of all, understand the declaration and assigning, then accessing of this particular array values would be, we'll be trying to understand. Now, coming back to here, so now this is where we have been assigned this particular values to this one. Now, the same thing. So now if you, this is one data type, right? So now we wanted to do it with the different data types. So now here we'll be giving it with the different data types, integer, float, whatever you can take it. So now what is the point here you wanted to do it here is you wanted to make sure that, so this particular things, now whatever the values which you are trying to see it is, whether it is an integer or a float or a decimal or anything, so that will be taken care on this particular point. So you have to be very much cautious in this particular area. So what type of data type which you are defining here, it is most important, and that would be similar in that particular case. So that particular data type you would be using it. So you shouldn't use the multiple data types over here. Now, how we are going to access your particular data type, the particular values. Now that's a pretty simple. Now you have been defined the string array. What is this particular variable and what are the values you wanted to have it. So now I wanted to access this particular value. Now here the index starts with 0. The most important thing, 0, 1, 2. So now I wanted to access O means oranges. Then what I need to do it. So string fruits. Okay. So as it is the same thing. So you don't need to change this particular square braces. So that is the reason I told you, right? So here defining like this and doing this one, this would be a little bit means issue for in the usage. So define it here itself. And then whatever the index values which you wanted to access it, so this fetch that particular value here. According to that value, you can use on this one. So this is how you would be accessing the any element in this one. So by this particular things. So this is how the basic. So first of all, what we discuss, what is an array and how to declare an array and how to assign an array and then how to access an array. So this is the way we will be accessing that particular values. Any questions till here?
Sir, one question from my side, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, why they I try to search in the Google also, but I'm not get the means proper answer. But why, sir, the array will start from the zero index, sir? Hello.
See, um, you need to understand few things. So that is a syntax. Why means what you expect the answer? See, that is syntax where the index is not only for this one. Any indexes need to be starting from zero is what the basic term. So only for one thing which we recently seen that it was starting with one. But every index is getting started with the zeros only, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just seeing that what is the problem here if it is starting with the zero or it is starting with the one.
I have taken the one question that I asked.
But always you remember any particular indexes. So the indexes should start with zero. So that's a thumb rule, which usually the concept of indexes itself starts with the zero. And now this is very important because now when you go for the comparisons, now for example, a list of elements having the comparison with another list of elements. Now these indexes will play a vital role. If you do anything small mistake, then it will go out of bound range issues, especially in the loops when you are running it. So at that point of time, most of the times you will be frequently encountering with these particular issues. So now that's a syntax. Now you need to follow that particular syntax. So why then we need to search for why we need to give semicolon. We can give comma, right?
Yeah.
That is syntax, boss. We need to follow the syntaxes. That's it. Then why we need to give curly braces? I can give normal braces, right? See, it's very simple answer. That's a syntax. Now why I need to give square braces? I can give normal flower braces, right? Here also. For few things, it's no point of searching for them. So that's a syntax. You need to follow the syntax. See, any logical things which it is missing, then we need to understand on that. Okay, fine. So now this is how we do the declaration and assigning and then accessing of this particular array. Now, next one which we wanted to see it on is the change. Means this is what the mutations which we wanted to see on this one. Mutations we have been seeing it, right? Or enhancing the particular value of a particular array. Now, this is very simple. Now we have been defined a particular array. Now I have been fetched the value 0. Now the value 0 is what? If I print in it will be printing me Volvo. So now when I'm trying to print this particular Volvo, I was just changing this one from Volvo to Opel. So these are the cars. So this is an very old model car, Opel. So now changing from Volvo to Opel. So now that is where just what they have been taken. So they've taken the assignment operator. The assignment operator, whatever the value they wanted to take it up, they have been assigned into this particular class. And that's a pretty simple, right? Taken this they have been assigned. So now when they started printing this particular thing, so it will print me the same thing value as, so now you can see it, right? When I have started to print the 0. So now for an example, now if I have been commented this and executed this program, it will print me the old one. But now when I have been assigned this particular value, now when I have been run this program, it will be printing me the open. So now you can change any value. So now for an example, now I wanted to see this particular value as 1. Now where it is BMW, now I wanted to see here, instead of BMW, I wanted to see this one, right? So now if you come on this one, same thing. Now this will be applicable for anything. So now you can try it out. So now it will be printing me the BMW. So now when I have been changed this one from this one to this, now when I executed this one, then it will start printing me the Opel. That's it. So this is how complete array can be changed or modified. So the complete array is an immutable. Array is an immutable thing. Means mutable means you can change any particular values in this particular array. Okay, so this is how we will be changing the array. So now first one, declaration, assigning, access, changing of array. Now we wanted to get the length or size of an array, and this is very important. This method, with this particular method only, you would be running loops and everything. Okay, you have to be very much cautious on this one. So now if I run this one, you can see anyways the answer is already, it is visible. So now what is the length of this? It gives you the 4 items, 1 2 3 4, but it starts from index 0 1 2 3, because 0 is also one iteration, right? 0 1 2 3 3 plus 0, which is 4. So overall 4 elements will be there. Now you have to be cautious when you start iterating from your loops. When you are iterating your value, when you are iterating the loop, you should start your iteration from 0, not from 1. When you, means many of the people, what they do, the logic is they will give the initialization for running the loop as 1 and size of this one 4. Now this will iterate for 5 times, right? So from 1 it will start, but it needs to get started with the
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I can't hear you,
So
sir.
no one is able
Yes,
to
sir.
hear you.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Sir is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
there in the
good.
session. Wait for one
Hello.
minute.
Sorry.
Sorry. Hello.
Can
Hello.
someone
Yeah,
bring the
yes, ma'am.
WhatsApp?
Yeah, Pina sir. Yeah,
Naresh,
sir.
stop recording. Naresh, stop recording.
1 second.